What's up, everybody? Oh, a little crooked. Sorry. Okay. Welcome to another Discussing DID video. My name is Viola. I am the host of the Cerebral System here on TransenDID. I always mix that up. On this channel, we talk about DID content, others, alt/alters, inner worlds. Pretty much, we cover a spectrum of topics. We also cover other mental health topics like anxiety and depression, LGBT topics like the one today, and we do gaming and vlogs occasionally. And recently started doing spoken word, so hopefully that's something you're interested in. Anywho, today's discussion video is a little different. As everybody who follows this channel probably knows by the name, the user icon, and by me in general, I am transgender, and I have DID. That is a sort of weird combination, but it's a thing, and it does happen. You know, I want to start by clarifying that being transgender is not a mental illness. Just want to point that out. It's been declassified, so I'm happy about that. So, why am I talking about these together? Because they kind of overlap a little bit for me, and it's weird. So, yeah, let's talk about what it's like being a transgender host with various different types of others. Being a host with nearly, I think, like, last time I checked it was like maybe 26 people in my system. I might have to recount, but that's the number I got last time. And some of them being male, it is very complicated when it comes to being a trans woman. Because obviously, not male. It's kind of a thing. In a sense, it's hard to be a host when you're generally trying to change. Specifically, if you have DID and you're trying to change your gender to one that's, you know, not matching of certain others, it can be very disorienting. Not only to you, but to them. Luckily, my system has pretty much unanimously said, hey, you're the host, you decide what you want to do. You know, with, you know, your meat casing, your, yeah, I'm real meat human, no, but basically your body. It's not always the case that way, though. There will be times with other people, and sometimes I've had conversations where they've basically said, are you sure? And some of them can be very resistant in other people's systems. I've been a part of many groups where I've seen this happen, where they've said, hey, you know, I'm trans, and, you know, I'm going from male to female, and my male others are very resistant to the change because they feel very uncomfortable with it. What I would usually do is not berate them for it, don't get upset about it, just try your best to explain why you are this way, like why you're changing to your system. It's a tricky thing to do, and more often than not, it can lead to negative connotations with your system. But in my case, I've had positive sort of influence with it because a lot of my others are a part of the LGBT community as well, and they're just openly accepting. I actually typed up like all of their sexualities that I know of, and some of them I'm not sure on. It's really crazy to me that it can be that way. So, is it harder to have, you know, male others when you're trans and going from male to female? Yes. If you're going from female to male and you've got a bunch of female others, it can be exactly the same way. Basically, it's a hard life, because you gotta fight with yourself. You gotta deal with what's up here. Well, you gotta work with what's up here, not deal with it, because that makes it sound awful. And you gotta try to, you know, reach a conclusion that works for everybody, and that is a straight-up nightmare sometimes. I remember I was asked about this from a therapist saying, are they okay with you transitioning? And at the time, I said, I don't know, I assume so. You know, it was kind of this very up-in-the-air question that I hadn't really considered when I was first diagnosed. Like, How do they feel about it? I do believe that a few of my male others were very hesitant at first, saying, it's going to feel really weird when we switch in, if we switch in, but a lot of the female others were just very supportive, saying, yeah, go for it, make yourself feel good about yourself, and, make yourself feel good about yourself. Make yourself feel good. I think there was like one or two that were very hesitant about it. One of them, I believe, was Matilda. She's generally kind of a very wary person in general. She doesn't trust a lot of people, and I doubt she trusts my judgment most of the time. But I'm trying to communicate more with her and build a level of trust. I'm going to start working on that. There are some that are just, they're kind of like, well, whatever, do what you gotta do. For me, those are, of course, Hans, who does not care. Nona has not said anything about it. I'm still trying to reach out to her. I believe Valerie said that it's whatever. Of course, Matilda. Wallace, I think, was more hesitant, but he kind of eventually said, whatever, go for it. And Bastille was just, he doesn't care. He's a big demon in a cage. Why would he care? It's that kind of thing. He kind of just told me, do what you want. And, his big bassy voice that I can't replicate for the life of me without a microphone and Audacity. Which I might actually do that for a future thing. In general, though, it's kind of this consensus that it's fine, because it was my decision to go through with it, because there are trans people out there with DID who feel like they can't do it, or they don't want to because it's a scary thing while dealing with that and this. I made the decision to start a transition because it makes me feel better. It'll make me feel better about myself, my appearance, because everyone knows I hate how I look. And that's a personal thing. I've had people say, oh, you look so good. Bags under my eyes, wrinkles on my forehead. This? No. I don't like it. And, it's a personal thing. I generally try not to speak for other systems that I've interacted with, but I do kind of use them as a point of reference. There are a lot of people who do struggle with this and don't have it as easy as I did. It wasn't easy. I wasn't able to, just say, we're doing this, and everyone's like, yeah! There was a lot of conversations to be had, especially with Serenity. She basically questioned me a lot, is this really what you want? Are you sure? You need to be 100% sure about your choice before you make this leap, because it's something you can't go back on. And, there's a lot of questions like that. I got questioned by pretty much everybody in my system at least once or twice. I think the only one who really didn't question it, the only ones, were Dominique and Lulu, because they're just like, hey, more fun for us, go for it. It's going to be enjoyable to see this. But, yeah, it is worrying, honestly, to think about what it's going to do to everything up here once I start. That is a legit fear, and I get that. It's kind of a fear of, how is it going to affect the DID? How is it going to... Am I going to switch more often? Am I going to be going through more depression and more anxiety? From a friend of mine's experience, they don't have DID, but they do have depression, and they said it made their depression worse, which does make me afraid, honestly, because when I get depressed, I shut down. I lay there, I don't think, I just kind of stare off, which, as explained before with Deffy's introduction video, it's kind of her doing. She makes me comfortably numb, so I don't hurt myself, obviously, so I don't know. I don't know what it'll do. My advice to anybody dealing with this is talk to your system, see how they feel, try to come to a conclusion that fits with everybody. And even if you can't, keep in mind, you are the host. You have say over this. They may not like it, but this is technically you know, you are the host body. You know, you can make changes to it. And they kind of have to deal. As awful as that sounds, you know, because they do share this with you. You know, it's better to get their input with it, but you do have the final say. This is what my therapist told me when I was still seeing someone. She said, you know, you do have the final say in this. Why is it going blurry? Camera's being weird. But she basically told me, you have the final say. You know, they do have a say in it, but you have the final word. If you want to change, that's you. That's what you do. So, there you go. My camera's being weird. It's like going blurry. It's kind of freaky. Tell me if you guys see any orbs or anything flying around, because if there is, I'll break it out. Anyway, talk of all that aside and the little tidbit of spoopiness, because my camera's being funky. Thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate you stopping by. Always do. If you like what we do here, like, comment, subscribe, all that good kind of stuff. It helps us out a lot, especially with this algorithm. It is a mess. And remember, you're beautiful, you're valued, you're important. You're very, very, very important to me and everyone up here. And I will see you in the next video that I make. So until then, goodbye.